Welcome to the philosophy of Yin Yoga. The philosophy of Yin Yoga, which we will explore in this particular video. We will be discussing and unpacking the great philosophy that I've really studied for a long time called Taoism. So Taoism is a philosophical path whose roots date back to around 550 BCE in China. And this word Tao, similar to many of the words in yoga, such as Dharma, is a dimensional word. It has a lot of meanings. Some of the meanings of Tao is that it means the path, channel, or the way. So the Taoists were all about developing this philosophy of moving in this way or moving in this path that really was in alignment and an attunement with the natural laws of nature and the natural laws of the universe, similar to the yogis in Ayurveda, which some of you have studied in our Ayurveda module training. So when we align with these natural laws of nature, we tap into an indestructible and invincible power. We are accessing a dimension within us that water can't wet, fire can't burn, wind can't blow, and the earth can't shake. It's beyond all things of the world of form, which has a beginning, a middle, and an end. When we fight these natural laws, we create our own suffering that is self-inflicted. But through the forms of various Taoist practices, whether that's physical movements, meditation, breathing, they found that they were able to tune into this very subtle level of reality that was beyond the usual scope of what the senses were presenting. And they found that at the very foundation of the entire physical material world was this field of pulsating energy. So for example, here I have this table right here, and the Taoists, sees a table made out of wood, but they don't just see the surface of the table. They're able to penetrate through that illusion of what it is that the senses are presenting, so that they will see that this wood is really made of fibers. And then what are the fibers made of? Well, the fibers are made of a pattern of cells. And then what are the cells made of? The cells are made of a pattern of molecules. And then what are those molecules made of? Those molecules are made of a pattern of atoms. And then those atoms are made of subatomic particles. We have electrons and neutrons and photons. So when a Taoist looks at a table or they look at a tree out in nature, they don't just see the wooden table or the wooden tree. What they see is a field of pulsating, vibrating energy. And that all things in the world of form arise from that subcurrent of energy. Now, it just so happens that this view that the Taoists have is also in alignment with modern day particle physics, which also views the world as made from energy, forever manifesting itself in and out of existence. Energy that appears and then disappears, arises and then passes away. Gary Zukav in the Dancing Wu Li Masters writes, "A closer examination, however, reveals that physics and enlightenment are not so incongruous as we might think. Enlightenment entails casting off the bonds of concept, veils of ignorance, in order to perceive directly the inexpressible nature of undifferentiated reality. Undifferentiated reality is the same reality that we are part of now and always have been a part of. The physical world, as it appears to the unenlightened, consists of separate parts. These separate parts, however, are not really separate. According to mystics from around the world, each moment of enlightenment, grace, insight, samadhi, satori, reveals that everything, all the separate parts of the universe, are manifestations of the same whole. There is only one reality, and it is whole and unified. It is one. So beautiful that we have particle physics that's talking about the oneness and the interconnectedness of all things. Just like in Buddhism, we have the interdependence of all things. Just like the word yoga means to connect or to unite. Yoga is oneness. The Taoists also are in alignment with that same perspective on the world. So the mind of the Tao is a mind that is in consciousness that sees everything as a field of connected energy. Everything is one. So what is that energy that they would speak of? That energy is called qi in Taoism. In yoga, we call it prana. So source energy that all material forms arises out of that energy of qi. Your qi is manifested within your breath, your life force, vital energy. Qi is the underlying subcurrent of energy that permeates all life, reality, and existence. It's what powers the sun. It's what powers the light here in the studio. It's what nourishes the plant, sustains the rhythms of nature, governs the primary elements, and fuels everything from the cosmos outside of ourselves to the systems inside of ourselves, even on a deep subatomic level. So the Taoists, they dedicated a huge majority of their life to the cultivation of harnessing qi. Because the more qi that you could harness and cultivate, then the more that you could use that to really become enlightened and become awakened. They discovered the more of the energy that they could harness, the greater the possibilities of human experience. So it's really about fulfilling one's potential. You need that qi, you need that energy in order to fulfill your greatest purpose in this human form. And then through that energy, you could feel strong, powerful, vibrant, and radiant. So a Taoist is like an alchemist working with energy, and qi is their key ingredient of this form of alchemy. All right, so we have qi, we have this inseparable, undivided field of energy of qi, and then this qi begins to manifest to the world of form. And as qi gives birth, it gives birth to two opposing but also complementary forms of energy, which are known as yin and yang. Yin and yang are simply configurations of qi. Traditionally, yin was described as being the shade, and yang was described as being the light. And the Taoists would use an image of a majestic mountain with the sun shining. And the sun's rays are hitting one side of the mountain that's creating the light side of the mountain. And that's that yang form of energy, the light. And then the sun is facing and beating down on that mountain, but the side of the mountain that's facing away from the sun is dark, it's shadowy. That's that yin energy, or otherwise known as shade. Yin and yang are also visually represented by the Taijitu, or the yin and yang symbol. So let's take a look at this circle. This circle represents the ongoing flow of the Tao and the cycle of nature. So it's no accident that it's a circular shape and not a square, rectangle, or triangle, or some other shape. It's a circle because of the cycles, the rhythms of nature. The left side of the circle is predominantly light, and that represents, again, yang energy. The right side of the circle is predominantly dark, and that represents the yin energy. And then down the middle, you'll see that S-shaped like curve, and that represents the ongoing, ever-ending flow between yin and yang, which again are never really separate, but always in a deeper way remain connected. That flow just going in and out, back and forth. You'll notice that the dark circle on the light side and then the light circle on the dark side, that represents that within yin we also have yang, and then within yang we also have yin. So again, another reminder that this yin and yang relationship is always relative. So let's talk about this a little bit more. Okay, think about it like this. When you're doing yin yoga, if somebody was observing you from the outside and they're looking at you, you're still in the pose, you're static. That looks very yin-like in nature. But as we'll soon learn in the science of yin yoga, and also what we're learning now in a deeper way, within that stillness is a whole pulsating, magnificent miracle of millions and trillions of things that are taking place. That's very yang. It's very vibrant what's happening within our fascia, our connective tissue, and what's happening within the meridians and the chi. So there is the yang even within the yin pose. Now let's think about a race car driver. So we'll say a Formula One race car driver who's moving super, super fast. You're observing that person is moving wicked fast. That's very much a yang energy. But as that race car driver is driving that car, in order to do what they're doing, their mind has to be so still, so present, and so focused, which is very much a yin-like quality. There's an example of the yin within the yang. And there's that beautiful Zen expression that says within emptiness there is form, and within form there is emptiness. That's what this means. Is that even within form, there's on a deep level just nothing but 99.999% space. And then even within the space, that arises into form. All right, now let's explore the yin and yang qualities a little bit more. So yin qualities: night, dark, cold, negative, passive, female, solid, stillness, tranquility, receptivity, the moon, midnight, wetness, hidden, and internal. And then the opposite of those are going to be our yang-like qualities: day, light, warm, positive, active, male, hollow, movement, activity, resistance, sun, midday, dryness, revealed and external, yin and yang. Now, although one is not more important than the other, in modern society, we often worship and praise and celebrate qualities that are more yang-like in nature. We celebrate the people that are the fastest and the strongest. You never have an Olympics where you celebrate the people that are the slowest, right? It's all about like how fast and how strong one can be. In our world of productivity, in our world of business, it's all about how much money can you make? How much of this can you acquire? How much of this can you do? How much power can a country have? All of that is very much within the sphere of yang energy. And when yang is in excess, it eventually depletes our qi and it burns up what's called our jing. Our jing is a term used in Chinese medicine, which is your foundational and finite energy resource that determines your lifespan. So you can imagine that we're all born, like you go to an ATM machine and you have a certain amount of money in your account, in your machine, and anytime you need money to go buy something, you could take some money out, go buy what you need to buy, but eventually you spend all the money that's in that account. Well, in a similar way, we're all born with a certain amount of energy currency. This is our gene. And the more that we're depleting it, the more that we're spending it, then the shorter our lifespan becomes. So the Taoists were all about preserving that gene for as long as possible and therefore increasing lifespan. And you can do that simply by finding the balance between yang and yin. So in Taoism, we have what's known as the three treasures: our qi, jing, and shen. We talked about qi, we just talked about jing. Shen is mind, spirit, connected to consciousness, wisdom, and awareness. So these three treasures we want to guard and protect for within our life. Now, from yin and yang, which came from qi, that then manifests into what's known as the 5 elements, or often referred to as the 5 phases. Qi travels through these 5 elements or phases, and they are fire, water, metal, wood, and earth. So those of you that have done the Ayurveda training, a little bit different names, some of them than what we learned in that system: fire, water, metal, wood, and earth. So wood, that includes trees, vegetations, minerals. Fire, that includes heat, light, sun, smoke, and fire. Earth, that includes soil, clay, rocks, and sand. Metal includes gold and silver, copper, and bronze. Water includes liquid in the form of the oceans, the rivers, rain, streams, vapor, moisture. So understanding these 5 phases is important to being aware of the laws of nature. Each phase, each element helps to promote another and helps to control another. And these are referred to as the promoting cycle and then the controlling cycle. So again, that connection, that these elements aren't really separate, but they're all influencing one another. Chinese medicine is absolutely built upon these concepts of qi and the 3 great treasures and the 5 phases. So to be in harmony with the Tao, with nature, the way, the path of living with nobility is really about finding Wu Wei. And Wu Wei is a beautiful concept, especially when we bring it into our yin yoga practice, because it means the action of non-action, effortless action, relaxed effort. And not only can we bring that essence of Wu Wei into our yin yoga practice, but if we want to cultivate and preserve our Xing, our life essence, then we can live in that spirit of Wu Wei within our life, where we're not fighting the world so much. We're not fighting nature so much, but it's like we're yielding to this natural river current of Wu Wei instead of exhausting ourselves and creating all this unnecessary suffering of going against the stream, against the current. We learn to yield to its power. And then we allow that power and we become a co-creator with nature, with the universe, to manifest a life of health and abundance and creativity and joy and love and wisdom and all the things that are important and meaningful to us within our life. So when it comes to yin yoga practice, we strengthen the quality of yin by allowing ourselves effortlessly to allow nature to do what it knows how to do, to nourish us and to support us along our path of life. All right, let's talk briefly now about the modern Meridian theory, which was created by one of Paul Grilly's teachers, a man by the name of Dr. Motoyama, who happened to be a Shinto priest and also a double PhD scientist. What he discovered from his research was an existence of a system of energy channels in the body, which Paul Grilly, founder of Yin Yoga, describes as the modern Meridian theory. So Dr. Motoyama would use these modern electronic instruments to discover and define that there's an energy flow through water-rich channels in the connective tissues of the body. And that the connective tissue is a living matrix conducting life-promoting energy to every single cell, tissue, and organ in the body. Scientists from the Fascia Research Congress, so there's a whole organization that is devoted to the research and the evolution of what we're learning about fascia. They presented a compelling evidence as well about how connective tissue is electrically conducting, water structuring, contracting and expanding structure that regulates how cells function. So this modern meridian theory postulates that chi, or energy, coordinates the electrical and chemical changes that these scientists can measure, that they all run through the connective tissues of the body, and these are what's known as the meridians. As we're going to learn about in the science of yin yoga, about hyaluronic acid and these channels of attracting huge volume of water, these currents is what's carrying the information of what really initiates and supports our human existence. Energetic benefits of yin yoga: we're going to enhance and we're going to balance our chi. Also, we're going to nourish the organs through the compression of these acupuncture or acupressure points connected to the meridians. So when you're in a pose like seated diamond and you have that pressure on the outer hips, you're putting that pressure there. There's acupressure points there. There's meridians that run through those areas. And so that has an effect there. Yin yoga also replenishes the reserves of Jing, the life essence that's stored in the kidneys. It also creates tiny piezoelectric currents that stimulate optimal cellular functions. So this notion of piezoelectricity is like the kids that get the shoes that when they run, they light up. And the way that happens is by mechanical pressure, pressing on these crystallized substances that then create light. Well, the connective tissues is a crystalline structure. So when you're mechanically exerting pressure into these areas, which we do in yin yoga, it also has a piezoelectric effect, which is connected again to the whole behavior and functionality of the cells, which are the building blocks of all life. Lastly, creates internal pulse magnetic fields that can restore cellular health. So we are a electromagnetic system. We are made of electricity. We are made of magnetic energy. And when you do yin yoga, you allow the magnetic fields to be strong in a positive, restorative way that is conducive to cellular optimal functioning as well. All right, so now that we've explored the philosophy of yin yoga, you've learned about Taoism, you learned about the origins of yin and where it comes from, you're going to answer some questions, and then after that, you'll get back onto your mat and we'll move through yin yoga spine. See you there.